We swapped a studio for a canal boat this week on Open Saturday as we examine engineering feats past and present. From Thomas Telford's iron bridge to the design and manufacture of a plastic bottle. We'll be talking to Kate Bellingham, an engineer and a broadcaster, about the role of women engineers in society and taking a trip across a masterpiece of civil engineering. So if you want to find out more, join us for Flights of Fancy, Open Saturday this weekend, 9 AM on BBC Two. It's a spectacular view.
This is the Open University on BBC Learning Zone. Now, botanist David Bellamy recalls his early academic career.
Real bit of nostalgia. The first job I ever had, collecting deck chairs down on the beach at Brighton. So I really was a bit of a dropout from school. The only thing I wanted to be was a ballet dancer. Then I grew too big. At 14 and a half, believe it, Bellamy was this big. So I had to do other things. And, you know, they'd have called it a dropout at school, but I didn't. I just sort of switched off. I played a good game of rugby, hence the nose. We had a girls' school next door, great fun. And then the final job in a whole series of jobs I had was at a technical college. I was a lab boy. I used to wash up all the things in the lab. And there were two guys there, George Fluck and Ned Norris, and they both said, "Come on, Bellamy, you've got a brain between those two ears, use it." And 5 years later, I was a university don. And I spent 2 of those years right here in Regent Park at Bedford College. Bedford College for women, but they allowed a few men in. I was one of the lucky ones. I was a pretty dull student because I'd missed so much out of school. I mean, I listened to University Challenge, all these clever things. I can't even understand the question, the answer, because all that part went out of my learning. So I had to spend most of my 5 years at university sort of swatting up all the back stuff. So I didn't enjoy university that I should have done. University was damn hard work. But great fun because I was learning, I was using this thing probably for the first time in my life. And it was here with Francis Rose, my PhD director. You see, he showed me I had a talent. A formal flower bed. Immense amount to discover in there, and of course I did, because I suddenly realised that all the plants which we enjoy looking at, and all the ones we eat, started their life off as wild things. And it wasn't that relationship between people and plants I discovered by reading a book. It's a book which is still very hard to get over, by Ananda Coomaraswamy, and it's called The Sources of Wisdom. Now, Coomaraswamy, a Sri Lankan, who was the world's expert on the history of Oriental art, and he worked in the great museums of America. And this book suddenly made me realise just what is going on with the world, because what Coomaraswamy said, while people understood the environment in which they lived, while people understood that the plants and the seasons were important, and used the natural products of the earth to make beautiful and wonderful things, which became great treasures and antiques in the future, then there was a chance, because people had that sense of being a part of this living earth upon which we all depend. And he points out again and again in these books that once you've taken that ability away, once you've replaced the true craftsmanship, the true beauty of living and making and being with a production line, then you actually had it. You know, the human brain is an amazing thing, and I often wonder what might have happened if I'd have sailed through school, sixth form, straight onto university, and not had all those amazing experiences of deck chairs and working in plastic factories, sweet factories and things. I think they open sort of nice breaths of fresh air come into this brain and perhaps clear out some of the pigeonholes so that you can then start to absorb facts. And that's what I did right here at Bedford. My lab was just round the corner there behind those trees. And, you know, I came there and suddenly it was Francis Rose and his experience and that book, Sources of Wisdom, that allowed me to go and piece all the jigsaw puzzle of life together. And still I like learning. I learn most from primary school children. I talk to perhaps as many as 6,000 a year, you know, and they're great because they're still looking at the world, you know, out. And when you ask them, 5 to 9-year-olds, they say, well, scientists make nasty things like Chernobyl. And at the moment, I don't have an answer. Perhaps I better read the sources of wisdom once again and try and find it.